This excavator hit a landmine while working and broke its bucket. The owner was very anxious because replacing an excavator bucket would cost $10,000. And this excavator was the owner's only property. He couldn't afford that much money. Just then, a team of people came to him and they said they could help him change a bucket for only $1,000. The designer first measured the size of the bucket. Then they found a large steel plate. They cut the steel plate according to the data given by the designer. After the steel plate was cut, they sent it to the factory for cold rolling. The designer first marked the points that needed to be cold rolled on the steel plate. Then they transported the steel plate to the cold rolling machine for processing. Soon the steel plate was shaped. Next was the final processing. They first located the position that needed to be cut on the steel plate. Then they cut along the drawn position. After cutting, they connected the bucket's reinforcement plate. Then they installed the left and right side plates. When installing the left and right side plates, they had to weld a torsion rod in the middle of the bucket because the elasticity of the steel plate was very large. They needed to fix it when welding. The two side plates were installed. 4 people put the bucket's connection plate on the bucket. Next was the production of the connector. The repairer took out a steel plate mold. He compared it with the excavator, and then according to the size of the mold, he drew the shape of the connector on the cardboard. Then he used the steel plate to process according to the shape on the cardboard. Then he moved the finished connector to the processing machine for fine processing. Finally, 3 people worked together to install and fix the connector to the bucket. Then they inserted the existing bearing into the connector. Next was the installation of the bucket teeth. They just needed to weld them in place. Then they welded 5 steel plates on the back of the bucket. This not only protected the bucket's load-bearing steel plate, it also added a sense of shape to the appearance of the bucket. At this time, the bucket manufacturing work was coming to an end. 2 people welded the bucket as a whole. After completing this step, they installed the nails on the bucket teeth. A finished bucket was presented. Finally, the bucket was painted and decorated. After the painting was done, they could call the excavator owner to pick up the goods. What do you think of this bucket?